And they said Section 44, which is under the Terrorism Act, so we are getting stopped because of Islam and because I'm a Muslim, not for any other reason. So we are being stopped because of our religion. How does it feel? You know what it is? In the beginning it felt a bit bad, but you know, because you get it done so regularly now, yeah? So it gets part of your life, so we're used to it now.
Lots of problems with the anti-terror legislation. I think the one that goes across all parties and sort of social and economic classes is that it infringes civil liberties. If it's to stop people blowing themselves up or from killing other people, then yes, you can say it's been a success because nothing's happened since 7/7. Has it made certain racial or religious groups more willing to cooperate with law enforcement authorities? No, I don't think it has.
Have you ever been stopped and searched?
Yeah.
And what was the reason? What did they say to you?
Because there's women dressed in my hijab and headscarf. Well, it ain't nice because they just think we wear headscarf and we hide things underneath our headscarf, which ain't a good thing. With our parents knowing as well, and we're younger lots as well, so it ain't good for what they're doing to us as well, just for no reason.
Then what can we do to go along with sometimes? I guess people that we choose to be in Parliament are mayor, isn't it? Personally, I thought that they were just being stupid about it, but then again, they're just doing their job, so there's not much you can do. We are being isolated and we are being picked out. Then again, I know some people who aren't the best people in the world and they think they get away with most stuff they do. So I guess it's the minority that make the majority look bad.
As far as the counter-terror measures are concerned, I think it's now accepted, there's a consensus that the way the laws have been applied have clearly had a disproportionate effect on one strand of our community. Now, some would argue that's hardly surprising when you bear in mind where the threat comes from over the last few years. It's hardly surprising that there aren't elderly white women being stopped and searched at the airport, or elderly white men being stopped and searched walking the streets. That being said, that can't be an excuse to apply laws in a discriminatory manner. And so, for example, Section 44 of the Terrorism Act, which allows the police to stop and search without reasonable cause if an area is called a designated area, that's been reviewed. Because I think the government and the police and the security services recognise that actually, if you look at all examples of counter-terror measures, the best way to fight counter-terror is the intelligence and cooperation of the communities.
It's made the government hugely unpopular within its own party, but also with other parties as well, and with campaign groups like Liberty, who just think it's absolutely abhorrent that the government is trying to take away people's freedoms for absolutely no reason whatsoever. And without proof that keeping people in detention for so long works.
Certainly when we've spoken to focus groups, when we've spoken to members of the public, people have been very surprised that already the UK at 28 days has a longer pre-charge detention period in terrorism cases than any other comparable democracy. The comparisons are very stark. The US police's terror with only 2 days, Canada 1, Russia 5, Turkey 7.5 days, and the UK already is at 28 days, and the government is trying to extend it to 42.
What we're seeing now in 2008 is a move towards a new counter-terror bill, which would, for example, for the first time allow certain types of eavesdropping evidence to be included in court proceedings. of journalism carried out by the Sunday Times, they uncovered this, and there was an inquiry into why that happened. There is a principle that constituents who see the Member of Parliament should be able to see the Member of Parliament without the conversation being listened to. That's not to protect the MP. It's your viewers will appreciate. Often have people coming to see me who are the victims of domestic violence. I may have people coming to see me who have problems with the police. And if a constituent doesn't have confidence they can have honest and candid conversations with the Member of Parliament, then that'll mean they won't come and see their MP. And at a time we're encouraging people to come forward, if they've got issues with counter-terror, if they get issues with criminality of their neighbours, if they get issues with the victims of domestic violence, if that person thinks there's a chance that a conversation may be listened to, he or she won't come forward and speak to their MPs.
I think there is a tendency for people to sit at home and feel that they can't do anything, that somehow this is their fate and they must accept it, and then when something goes wrong they say, oh, this is terrible, why is this still happening to us? There are some groups who make a difference. There are some groups who are quite active and quite vocal, and I would like to see more campaigning activity. Who's been the most vocal about this issue? Has it been Muslims? No, it hasn't. It hasn't, We have the most to lose from this legislation, and what are we doing? Bugger all, as far as I can tell.
Well, you've got to be engaged. I mean, one of the things that Muslim communities around the country cannot do is complain, criticise, whinge, and not be engaged. And you need to be engaged in these parties, both parties. I'm not saying everyone joins their party or everyone, I think you've got to be engaged in most mainstream parties to be able to influence policymakers. Rather than being a bystander, somebody with a megaphone complaining, far better. That's important as well. But it's also important to be engaged in the game and to engage and change things inside.
I think that if young people are concerned about certain anti-terror laws being unnecessary or unjust, then they need to get involved with campaigns, so they need to read about them. As I said, Liberty believes that some counter-terror laws are absolutely necessary, but if young people are concerned about laws that they think are unjust or unfairly affect them and their communities, they need to look to organisations that are doing things about that.
Actually getting involved with groups like Liberty, because they do a huge amount of work, human rights groups, and also petitioning your MP. If you know who your MP is and there's a vote coming up, bother them. You're paying their salaries, they work for you. There's even a website called theyworkforyou.gov.uk. Find out who they are, find out how they voted previously on terrorism legislation, and just bother the hell out of them.